Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just looking now to see whether or not my camera is it in. Yeah, it's in focus. It's in time. It's in sync. We're okay, ladies and gentlemen. This is Friday, the 25th of February. Jesus Christ, where has this month gone? It's been ridiculously fast. It's gone ridiculously fast. I'm just going to swap these windows round so I can see what's going on. There we go. Vern's in nice and early, as well as Tay's Bad and JMK. How we going, boys? How we all doing? I hope you are having a good day so far. Vern, I've just seen your tweet about KFC. Mate, bargain bucket for one. Is it the mighty bucket for one? I'm not sure. Just a big dog today. Yes, it is just me for the time being. Graham is AFK, so it is just your boy. We've got 4 news articles today, so we're going to absolutely fly through this because I am. And the reason why we have been late for the last couple of days, we are exceptionally busy at this moment in time. If my camera looks like it's going out of sync, please just let me know because I need to switch them over. I don't know why, but the latency on my Droid cam at the moment is getting a little bit out of hand. I don't know if it's because I keep on switching stuff around or I've got like 1,000,001 things open at the moment, so it's just draining my resources a little bit. I do need to get a new CPU. That's definitely on my my shopping list because my CPU now is like 5 years old and it's fine for everything else, but when it comes to streaming, it's just a little bit chuggy. Yeah, might book it for one. Proper treat for me, that lad. Yeah, I love KFC is literally goated. Like, did you use the app? I don't know if you signed up to like the Colonel Club and stuff, but you can usually get some really good discounts, or you can get a lot of the stuff for a hell of a lot cheaper. Like they did one for the bargain bucket, not bargain bucket, the mighty bucket for one. It was like £4. I was like, yes, please, last 16 of those, and shoved my face in it all. But how are we all doing anyway, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you are okay. I hope that you're fine. It is just me today. It's just a single dollop. Graham is AFK, so it is just your boy. I'm just going to be running through the news today. We do have 4 news stories. Funnily enough, couldn't actually find one about Free Game Friday. I looked on all the usual websites that we usually get them from. I could have just loaded up Epic Game Store myself, but then I wouldn't have a story for you. I'd just be able to tell you. But instead, I've found something a little bit tastier than just your normal, typical Free Game Friday article. So we're going to run through that, as well as starting the show off with the fact that PlayStation Plus Project Spartacus overhaul is reportedly pretty close. So I do need to put chatbot on, but it will require a code that Graham isn't here for, so chatbot will not work. So exclamation mark Game Pass will not work. Neither will exclamation mark socials, exclamation mark Nietzscheo, exclamation mark anything else that decides to needs a command. None of that will work because Graham is AFK, so we can all blame it on him. No offers round our way today. Oof. That's grim. Tito says, we're talking KFC. I've just been out and get fuel, swung by the KFC drive-thru, and it was shit. I'm gutted. Oh, it was shut. Which was rather shit. Yeah, understandable. I mean, why KFC closed on dinner on a Friday? That's blasphemous. It's like driving past your favourite pub when the football's on and it's closed. There's a pub around me, right, when I go to football on a Tuesday. There's a pub near me that only opens for the football on a Tuesday at like 7:30, like 7:45 on a Tuesday, when usually Champions League action is taking place. That's when it opens. It's not open from 5 till whenever, like you would expect normal pubs to, but that's when it opens. But anyway, enough of that jibber jabber. Again, I hope that we're all having a good day so far. Tito, Northern Fried Chicken for the win. Or BFC, Bibby's fucking chicken. If anyone's ever seen my pictures of those when I've been doing my own fried chicken, that is good shit. Did some last week. Still stands up. Anyway, enough about me and my waffling about how good my fried chicken is, which it is, by the way. I think we better get into some news because it is a dollop. I don't want to be sat here talking for 40 minutes without you guys getting involved. Do you know what I mean? It's not the same when there isn't 2 of you. It just feels like I'm waffling. I do not like that. Just consistently talking, because if you don't already know, this is The Scoop. It's the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do so say ourselves. And I'm going to say this louder for the people at the back, because after 550 episodes, people still don't know that this is available on podcast formats. Yes, Ravi, I'm looking at you. Tweet this morning, I didn't know that you did The Scoop and put it on podcast services. How? How? We make a point of this every single time that we go live, over 550 episodes, every single tweet that goes out. Like, you guys should know now that you're able to find us on social media, right? You guys shouldn't be able to know that you can find this podcast on all of your favorite podcast services, including the likes of Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and there's another one in there, SoundCloud, which is the main one. Also, beyond that, you can go back and you can watch this on video on demand, either on Twitch or YouTube. Like, there is so many ways. This will actually be on podcast services that we don't even know of, because it's an RSS feed and it will just get spaffed off everywhere. So if you guys listen to some podcast services that we don't not already know, go over to our YouTube, go over to any of our social medias. It's at Task Remote across all major social media platforms. Tell us what you're listening to on, because that will be very helpful to find out actually where you are. Like, our biggest, again, this is bizarre, but we've been crunching numbers and we now know that over 130,000 of you have been either listening to this live with us on Twitch, either watching it back on YouTube or any of our on-demand services. But our biggest audience by an absolute landslide is in America. Now, I don't know whether or not that's because they're catching up after the fact. So by the time this goes live on all of the podcast services after the fact, it's like early morning over in America, so they're listening to it on the commute or something like that. But to all of my American friends, hey, how are you doing? But yeah, it's bizarre. Like, it's an absolute landslide. It's like 70% Americans that are listening to this, and like 25% British, and the rest of it's just scattered around. It is weird. It is weird, but anyway. Ben says, lick my phone when chicken comes on the screen. Excuse me. I watch it on YouTube, says JMK, if I miss it live. Tezbad said he can't be more wordy than great. He can be more wordy than Graham some days. That's me. I mean, I don't talk as much as Graham, but I do speak a lot faster, which is a massive hindrance, because I tried to record the video for this today and it was still too long and it didn't make any sense because I speak too fast. But that's just because of where I come from and my accent and the way I deem to be reading stuff. So anyway, Tezbad, just for you, I suppose we better get onto the show. Do you know what I mean? Shall we start the show properly? We still love you. I still love you too, boo. Anyway, first news article of the day. Let's hope this works, because this is the first time I'm actually running the scoop from my home office in 2022. I think the last time I had to change just before we went live, so it didn't start with the Christmas edition of the scoop. So it was obviously well before then. So maybe the beginning of December, I'm not too sure. But anyway, we've got a first news article today. Let's hope that this works. Who knows? Did it work? Yes, it did. Hello there. So it says PlayStation Plus Project Spartacus overhaul reportedly pretty close to launching and will feature essential, extra and premium tiers, written by Matt Wales over at Eurogamer. And he states that last December reports began circulating that Sony was working on a new multi-tiered PlayStation Plus overhaul, codenamed Project Spartacus, to rival Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass. At the time, Sony said that we was aiming for a spring release, and new reports suggested that the service is now pretty close to actually launching. That's a word from VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb, who, once again speaking on the latest episode of his Giant Bomb show, Grub Snacks, thanks VGC, also offered a little bit more insight into how the three-tiered subscription service, which effectively merges Sony's existing PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus offerings, will be structured. Grubb claimed that the new service, which Bloomberg previously reported, would retain the PlayStation Plus branding, while PlayStation Now is being phased out. We'll call its three subscription tiers Essential, Extra and Premium, said that $10, $13 and $16 a month respectively. Jesus, it's quite a jump, that, to be fair, isn't it? As Bloomberg's initial report on Spartacus, Grubb says that Essential tier will effectively be PlayStation Plus as it is today. That is, required to play online on PlayStation titles, providing a number of monthly games for subscribers to add to their libraries at no extra cost. While the extra tier will also include downloadable game catalogue featuring around 300 titles. Anything that's available on PlayStation Now was downloadable. It seems it would be in here, Grubb said. The premium tier, meanwhile, will reportedly give subscribers access to classic games and cloud streaming, in addition to all of the above. Although Grubb admits, I don't know what classic games mean, but I do know that a major part of this premium tier. Bloomberg previously reported that premium tier would include access to PlayStation 1, 2, 3 and PSP games alongside extended demos, something that Grubb reiterated. Despite increasing number of reports surrounding Project Spartacus, Sony is yet to make any such initiative official. Jesus Christ, we get there eventually. According to Grubb, however, this may change very soon. It's probably getting pretty close to this actually launching. He said something's probably going to be happening at the end of the month, and I don't know if that necessarily means publicly. I think in terms of the initial milestones of where the service needs to be. And I'm just going to take my jumper off because it is absolutely sweltering in here, so I don't want you to see my titties, so I'm going to do that while the camera's still off like this. 2 secs. Ugh. Hey Spike. How you doing? Right. The titties are back in the cage. Okay, so back in the room. Back in the room. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Is my camera lagging there? It is, isn't it? Spike's ruined it. Where's my hat, bitch? Where's my hat? Huh? I need that hat. Don't be sending me no curve peak crap. Give me that damn flat peak. Where's my hat? Said Spike. I'm just going to turn this camera off. Where is it? There we go. Let's get back to this one. Hey, hey, hey. Because that one seems to be delayed a little bit. Do you think I stole a shirt in the background? Yeah. My room is a bit of a tip, to be honest. I just seem to have thrown everything down. If I turn this on, will it get rid of what looks like I've got jaundice? Not really, no. Yeah, Spike break the stream again. No, I don't know why. I think I need to restart my PC. I've left it on for like the last 4 days, so I think my memory's just cached itself. So everything's running a little bit slower than usual. Look, it's back to normal again now, so I'm just going to flip back to this one. I'll just keep on doing that. But how are you doing, Spike? Yes, we mentioned yesterday in the scoop that the person who usually posts the stuff is now away for 10 days, but have no fear. When I'm back in the office on Tuesday, I will be taking everyone who's paid because of it. We did send the invoices out to everyone who bought one and who wanted one. They have now received it, but a lot of people haven't got round to paying it yet. So because the post office a little bit, it's not out of the way, but I can't walk down the street with like fucking 14 boxes. Do you know what I mean? So I'm waiting for people to come back to us. I will be sending out an email today for those who haven't paid it yet. So on Tuesday, when I am back in the office, I will be taking it down to the post office, and you should have it by the end of next week. Providing Royal Mail decides to actually deliver the bloody thing. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of back into the PlayStation news and away from the hat business, I think this is cool. Like, I don't think I'll be subscribing to the premium stuff unless I know what's inside there is actually worth my money, because $16... albeit it's not an absolute ton of money if you're having like 600 games available to you. I would be pretty happy paying for that, but it just depends on the quality of games. Like at the moment, you can play PlayStation 2 games on your PlayStation 4 and 5, but are they games that you actually want to play? Like one of them's like Everybody's Tennis. Dark Cloud's a pretty good game. There is obviously the Grand Theft Auto games in there as well, so I think there was there was one there because you could play San Andreas. Well, that's no good. I'm going to watch Catherine Ryan on Thursday. How am I going to wear my hat to that now? You might get it. You might get it by then. Who knows? Who's Catherine Ryan? Is she the comedian? I'm not too sure. But yeah, in terms of like, would you be happy paying £16 for the full package? So it starts at 10, which is probably what we pay now, and then it goes to 13 and then 16. I can see myself probably sitting in the middle tier. The lighting on this camera is horrific compared to the other one, innit? Like, it's so bad. Again, for you guys listening to it on audio stuff, like, this is the camera that I was rocking for the longest time as well. I do have another one. Where is it? It's there. Hello. It's this one right here. That one looks a lot better. I might swap them out, actually. Yeah, look, I've got jaundice. Or something like that. It's pretty bad, but yeah, it is what it is at this moment in time. Let's just turn that off because it's not doing us any favours, is it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, really. Like, what do you think? Is it worth the money? Like, $16 is, again, so it's quite a substantial amount of money if the stuff and the products aren't that great that are in there. I'm just going to turn this lamp off because it's not doing me any favours. There we go. That's a little bit better. Maybe if I close the curtains, that might be okay. They are blackout curtains, so this could get even worse. Oh my god. I'm not sure about that. At least your skin matches your hair now. This is just getting even worse, isn't it? Even worse. Anyway, I'm not asked about that now. The vanity has gone out the window. But yeah, 16 quid. I'm not sure. I'd have to see if it's worth your time. Because I don't think it would be. Depending on what we get in there. That's a little bit better, I think. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'm going to move on because I'm just rambling now and still trying to sort out my camera. That's that for that. But you want to pay £16, I guess it comes into what the quality of games are that are in there. If it's not, you're beautiful the way you are. It's just, do you know what? I'm not asked about the camera quality. I'm just asked about it making me not look like a Simpson because it's just bright yellow. But apart from that, I mean, as long as it sounds fine, you guys that listen to a podcast service, that's all I'm asked about. So yeah, PlayStation Plus stuff, it's got to be worth it for you to pay £16, £10. We were all going in on that. Anyone who plays online on the PlayStation is paying their £10 to get on there. So nothing's going to change apart from a price increase, because I think it's £8 now. So it'd be a price increase of maybe £2, maybe a little bit more. I don't know whether or not there's going to be a currency exchange in there, because for some reason, if it's $10 in America, it's still £10 over here. That's definitely not correct currency conversion. But yeah, it just seems to be a round number across the board. So $10 is what we're going to end up paying. Everyone's going to pay that. $13 may, again, it depends on what they're going to include and whether or not it's going to be worth your time. $16, I don't know. Like, me paying for Game Pass now is absolutely worth the money that I pay for it because of all the games that are on there. PlayStation Plus isn't worth your money now. Will it be worth it in a month's time? Again, I suppose we'll have to wait and find out. But I did mention Grand Theft Auto then, so that's something that I'm going to move on to now, because I want to leave the Free Game Friday stuff until last. So we're moving into this one then. Ooh, I don't want to see stuff like that. Another Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition patch is coming next week. Writes Jordan Midler over on VGC, and he states it's unclear as to what the issues or the patches will be addressed. The patch for Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition are coming next week, according to Rockstar. In a tweet, the company announced that new patches are coming next week for Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition across all platforms. The tweet then continued that we appreciate the community's patience and support. It's currently unclear as to what the patches will do, and if the tweet refers to multiple patches or simply one patch coming to multiple platforms. This is the latest in long line series of updates for the troubled Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition. Terrible name, by the way. The highly anticipated remaster collection released in November with a significant number of technical issues, as well as an unintended documents within the game file, such as an unlicensed music and developer notes. Rockstar subsequently apologised to fans for the state of the game and promised a series of updates to improve the title. The Switch version came for particular criticisms, and VGC's own review called it disappointment. The frame rate is horrible, it's so blurry you can think that you're actually playing on a CRT, and the loading times are atrocious, our reviewer wrote. It was a mistake if you were a massive Nintendo fan to the point where you'd never owned another console, this was a mess. The first impression of the three of the best, most important video games of all time, you'd wonder what all the fuss was about. Despite its poor launch, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick claimed that the collection had performed great since its release. The delayed physical release of the Switch version and Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition was released earlier this month. A physical version of the collection will be released on PlayStation and Xbox were released on December 17th, 2021, 10 days after the digital launch. Now, Spike, I'm fairly certain that I read your comment out, and I don't know whether or not I actually thanked you for it, so I appreciate the tier one. For 25 months as well, you absolute beauty! That's like 4 babies, no? Anyway, 3 babies maybe. Nice, in 27. Yeah, just short of 3 babies. It's like 2.75 babies. So I appreciate that, Spike. Thank you very much. So, I've actually got good things to say about what I've played so far from Grand Theft Auto. Like, again, I haven't played many games since my boy has been born. I did play through San Andreas because it was available on Game Pass, and I actually had a really good time with it. I don't think it's anywhere close to being as bad as what people was making it out to be. I genuinely had a good time with it, but I did hear that GTA 3 was a bit of a shit show, so I don't know whether or not that's what they're referring to the most. But in terms of the game overall, it's playable. I didn't see that the loading times was necessarily that bad. I imagine this has been reviewed just for the Nintendo console, which I can imagine being a bit of a chug. But with it being an SSD within your Xbox and your PlayStation 5 nowadays, then the speed was just there. I was happy with it. I didn't feel like I was sat there scrolling through Twitter waiting for a game to load like I would do if it was a PlayStation 2 version. Do you know what I mean? But we're getting some patch stuff. It doesn't necessarily say what it is. It may just be a load of performance stuff and a load of changes in terms of some locations and their names and maybe a few textures. I'm not too sure. None of us know. People have tried to data mine it and they haven't been able to figure it out yet. So I suppose we'll wait and find out. They're happy with the sales, which is baffling considering some of the bashings that they've got from it. But I imagine a lot of people had this pre-ordered. Like, as soon as it was announced, a lot of people would have just gone, do you know what, fuck it, I'll have it in my digital collection. If it gets updated down the line, it gets updated down the line and we'll figure it out then. But yeah, I'm fairly certain they're going to be... This might be the game that we actually thought was going to be what we wanted at some point. I'm not entirely sure when, but I think we'll get there eventually. JMK says it's $8.99 in Ireland for monthly, but I normally get a yearly one for $45 in the sales. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'm not saying you have to go to any of the key resellers or anything, but you can usually get a pretty good deal somewhere down the line. Or Hot UK Deals, for instance, always post stuff on there. Like, you might have to get a VPN that may send you over to Argentina and then top it up from there. It might cost you 20 quid, but there's usually ways around it. Like, people was doing that with their Game Pass. They ended up with like 2 years of Game Pass for like £5 because they bought a VPN to go to Chile. But anyway, Tezbad said, have you heard the new Tiger Woods game this year? Yes, but it's not going to be a Tiger Woods game. Don't this yeah. This PGA Tour 2K21, they signed Tiger Woods last year to be in their next game or be an ambassador for it. When we're going to be getting a new PGA Tour game, I'm not too sure. Now, obviously, EA are going to be bringing out their version of a new PGA game as well. I think it's called the Masters. Tiger Woods, I don't know if he's going to be in that. I'm sure they had a falling out years ago, which is why Rory McIlroy went on the front cover instead. That was obviously an abomination of a game. So I don't know whether or not Tiger Woods is necessarily going to be in that, but it all depends on who they can sign. Like, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if like Justin Thomas became the new front cover of the PGA game. So I'm not too sure, but I mean, we're getting more golf games. Like, we've been talking forever about there only being 2 football games. Now we're getting a load of influx of different versions of those, albeit either arcade or trying to be simulation if it's a mobile game. We're getting loads of iterations of football games now. We haven't had a boxing game forever, so ESBC is going to be coming out. Let's see where that ends up. PGA Tour came out with probably the best golf game that I ever played. Obviously, they took over HB Studios, and by they, I mean 2K took over HB Studios, which used to be the golf club, which again was fantastic golf games if you've never played those. PGA Tour 2K21 kind of just builds on top of that. Makes it uses 2K's experience in making very, very good sports games. So they took that to the next level. What the next level is going to be for 2K22, I genuinely have no idea. It might even be 2K23 by this point, but I want to see golfers in your career mode. I want it to have a bit more personality than you're playing a tournament this week. There's some names that you might recognise on the board. That's it. Do you know what I mean? I want it to be a case where you might be able to knob around the golf club. Like you sign up, you become a member at a particular golf club, whether or not during the summer it's in England, and then when it gets to winter, you go over to Dubai, or you go to America, or you go to Canada, or you go all these nice places that have really nice courses, but you have the weather rather than staying in England. So you play your winter golf elsewhere. Like, you become a member. Like, I have so many ideas as to what potentially could be in a new golf game. I just don't know how they're going to implement these ideas without me being disappointed, and that's not on them whatsoever, because the ideas I have in my head are based off of what I think the game would look like if it was made by me, not what's actually physically capable. But I mean, if you had in NBA where you have the city mode and you can go around and you can play 3v3 or 4v4 on a basketball court in the middle of nowhere, like, that would be cool if you could just go, right, okay, we're going to play a bit of pitch and putt. It's a load of par threes. There's 9 holes. Let's know about with your mates. Get the golf buggy, drive around like you do on everybody's golf. That would be sick, right? That would actually be sick. So again, I have ideas of what I think a really good golf game would look like. What it actually looks like, we don't know yet. Spike says Tiger Woods 2K22 Reformed Shagger Edition. To be fair, he's looking so much better than he has done for a long time. Like, you've seen him back with his golf clubs not long ago when he was playing with his son, and it looks like he's never been away, apart from he's got a knee brace like Stone Cold Steve Austin now. Later this year, I heard. I hope so. I mean, hopefully, considering I played the game in front of 60,000 people on the front of Twitch, we get that opportunity again to be able to unbox one of these bad boys, and we jump in and all you guys get to hop in like we did last time. Like, that was so much fun, and it's cool having as much golf knowledge as I do, because I feel like sometimes people just see me as a football guy all the time, and being able to branch out into another sport and actually be able to talk about it without sounding like a fucking idiot all the time is quite nice. Do you know what I mean? Like you're choosing your clubs. You're not just going, okay, I know this club can hit it 180 yards, but you're going, actually it's a hybrid. You know full well that you may be able to get a lot of distance on it, but it's going to roll and carry. So it's, yeah, like having that knowledge and not just being able to play it and having a bit of personality behind it, that's what I want to do again. And whether or not we get that opportunity where 2K come in and go, do you know what, we know you like golf, we know you understand it, we know you've streamed it before, we know you've got a lot of eyes on it, like from what I heard, for all intents and purposes, I don't know if Asim is in here and whether or not he'd actually be able to say that anyway. But I know from people who've come into my chat, like we've managed to retain quite a few of them as well. Like Gagad and Tezbad, you was in the golf stream as well, weren't you? Like we've managed to retain quite a few of yous who you necessarily might not have bought it from that, but I know that we did quite a few sales off of the back of that from people watching the stream, which again is one of my biggest streaming or entertainment, shall we say, successes. Like my biggest success is creating that Master League video that we did, where me and Graham was actually acting, which I thought was a bit cheesy at first, but now I've just come to absolutely being able to put that together myself was unbelievable. But actually streaming, I think that is probably my biggest success. Like trying to hold an audience of 60,000 people, give or take, coming in and out of the stream and interacting with the chat. That's my biggest success story as an individual streamer, shall we say? Anyway, Spike says, "Let's be honest. The only game of the golf we need is Happy Gilmore Golf," which he actually did the promo for 2K21. Yeah, that's Shooter McGavin in there as well. So again, yeah, we've got ideas. In terms of, I've got ideas of what it's going to look like. We've got a billion ideas of what a WWE game can look like, and we haven't got that long to find out what that looks like soon as well. Change of subject. How is the baby? It's still alive. He's still alive, so we're doing okay so far. He's just being a bit whingy at the moment because he had his jabs last week. Apparently it lasts for like a week, so it's a week today actually that he had his jabs. So hopefully he'll be okay. But he's been sleeping well. He's feeding well. He's just agreed to takes after his dad. Spike says, yeah, but I need to be able to drop clubs and go fist to fist with Bob back. This ain't no NHL game. You're just in the middle of a round, just dropping your gloves. Like, yeah. I mean, a golf game, I'd love the opportunity. I mean, this is taking it super seriously now, but for me, playing golf IRL in real life, for you noobs out there, is all about the process of playing. Like, I'm not the best golfer in the world. I don't know if anyone knows that. I'm genuinely not the best golfer in the world. I've managed to get my handicap down, but being out and playing with my friends and having a chat with them and walking around for like 4 hours, that's the biggest part for me. So if they could try and include some of that in there, where you actually have your personality and you're able to speak to the people you're playing against online. I know you can in the party chat, in the game chat now, but it's not great. I want to be able to like walk to my ball. Like, I want to take it super seriously. If you're making a simulation, I want to take it as seriously as possible. So I think that would be pretty cool if you could. Taysbad says, happy for you both. Thanks for that too. Old to know or Australian. Yeah. IRL. LOL. All of these different things. WTF. Why the face? But yeah, I mean, this has gone way out of the scoop stuff now, isn't it? I mean, this is what happens when I just end up waffling because my brain can't handle this capacity. I'm very good at keeping Graham in line about what the show is and reminding him of what we've been talking about, but in actually hosting, I think I'm a very good co-host. I'm a very good producer of the show. In terms of hosting it, I'm not very good. I can't keep structure, which is why I like live streaming in terms of playing games, because I can just go off and wander off of whatever comes into my head. But in terms of creating a dedicated show, not very good. Not very good at all. But also, you're doing great, says JMK. Thank you very much. Walk up to the ball, fuck that, get a buggy up to the dunes like in Jackass style for me. I nearly killed my father-in-law on one of those. So at the golf club, again, golf talk again. This is what happens when I stream. But at the golf club near me, it goes downhill on the 8th hole. So it goes down quite a significant drop, to be honest with you. If it's in winter, you have to stay to the path. If you're walking on the fairways, then you're going to slip on your ass and go right down the hill. But in the summer, He can't walk that far anymore, so we get buggies to go around when he's playing. Fantastic player, great striker of the ball. He just gets tired around like the 13th hole, so if he's winning by then, I know I've got a chance towards the end. But we're going down the hill in this buggy, and I'm tear-assed. I'm foot to the floor. It's coming down towards the bottom. I go to brake. It skids, and he's holding on with his pint in his hand onto the side, and he's like tipping out the side. He's going. Honestly, he was like one of them. You had to be there, but it was fantastic. I mean, if it had fallen out, I probably would have been in a lot of trouble because I don't think he'd have been getting up very quickly. But he didn't die. But yeah, I love buggies. They are great. They're expensive. But it gets you around in pretty quick time. If you're half decent, you're not finding your ball in the trees for a long time. But anyway, moving on to our second to last story. This isn't. I don't like talking about this stuff, but I feel like it's important to talk about. So for those of you that are in the world at the moment in time and may have seen on social media or if you've watched the news, obviously Russia and Ukraine are, I say they're both at war. Russia is at war with Ukraine. Ukraine just like, whatever lads, like you're just being dickheads coming over and trying to... I don't know the entire inside out, so I'm not trying to teach anyone about any of this stuff, which is usually why I hate to speak about it, but I feel like it needs to be brought up, especially when it comes to the video game side of things as well. So I'm going to flick into the news so you can have a look yourself. So, for those of you that know, Stalker 2 developer GSC Games World urges fans to support and defend defenders amid Russian invasion. Which is why I was saying Ukraine aren't really in the fight. It's just Russia being knobs. Coming in trying to invade. But the makers of the highly anticipated Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl have asked fans to support and defenders in Ukraine and to donate money if they can. The ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine is the stuff of nightmares, with social media ensuring the horrors of war and purposeful misinformation are instantly available to everyone, everywhere. Anyone who's been in social media recently will know this. Like the amount of fake news that is just pure speculation, and what can happen off of the back of fake news can be catastrophic. But anyway, however, unless you're someone who's personally involved in it, we can't see a distinct conflict. But video game stalker GSC Game World, which is well known for the Stalker franchise, is based in Ukraine and has tweeted out its support for the country's armed forces. As of today, and this is a quote by the way, as of today, Russian Federation has officially declared war on Ukraine. Our country woke up with the sound of explosions and weapons fire, but is ready to defend its freedom and independence, for it remains strong and ready for anything. The future is unknown, but we hope for the best. Ever sure of our armed forces and believe in Ukraine. Read the message from developers' official Twitter channel. No specific mention is made of how staff members are coping with the emergency, but there is no indication of any form of them have left the country. Instead, the tweets are to encourage fans to send monetary aid, but with lengthy number in both tweets relating to a special aid account organised by the National Bank of Ukraine. We thus addressed all of our colleagues in the gaming industry. Read one of the tweets. Players, bloggers, or anyone who sees this post in their newsfeed, share this. Do not stand aside and help those in need. The response to the tweets are almost universally positive, although there are a few jokes about fans how repeatedly delayed their game now suffer and yet another setback. Through the pain, death, war, fear, and humanly cruelty, Ukraine will persevere, and as it always does, says the GSC Game World. So there it is in full. I don't know if any of you have seen this on social media today, but if you could go in and give this a retweet as well. If you, again, I'm not asking you to donate or anything like that, but it's just to try and spread awareness. Like from my standpoint and whatever I've seen, whether or not it's fake news or anything like that, it just seems like Russia are just playing Billy Big Bollocks and just want to take everything that they potentially can. Safety is paramount for the people who are not just on the front line, but the civilians who are just knocking around and have no choice but to stay there because they can't leave the country. Like this is, again, I hate talking about this stuff because me personally, I don't know all of the facts, and I don't usually speak up in stuff like this anyway because I don't understand it. I feel like if I don't understand it, I can't put my point forward. But in terms of it being a video game company, I feel like, well, I would stand behind them anyway because from my perspective, what it looks like is they are just having, essentially, they're being burgled. And that's what it comes across to me. They've just been in their own houses and people are coming in to try and take their shit. I think that's as easy a way as I can potentially put it. Again, it could be a complete carriage of me misinformation on my behalf. But I don't really know what else to say, really. Spike says all the Russian ice cream followers are now ripping up their subs. He called us knobs. Call it as you see it, to be fair. But I've seen a lot of people going mad about Russians in general. Like, again, don't know all of it, but I know for a fact there is absolutely sound Russians out there that have that aren't standing behind their so-called leader. Like, just because he is in charge doesn't mean that necessarily everyone's rallying behind him. Look at what we have fucking leading this country. He's one of the biggest dimwits I have ever come across in my life. Yet he still run the country. Does he have my support? He has zero support from me. And I imagine Russians are feeling the exact same now. It's just someone is speaking on behalf of them. They're like, what the fuck? I saw yesterday a football account, not a real life football account. We talked about it maybe yesterday, but it's the Total Football account said that they're going to be taking Russian leagues and Russian players out of the game. Like, what the fuck do they have to do with it? Like, why are they being removed from the game? They've got absolutely no fight in this. They're literally just they're athletes. Why are they being removed? It's nothing to do with them. They're not on the front line. They're not fighting for their leader. But yeah, it's one of those lines that I suppose in Russia you kind of have to toe. Putin puts a dick in dictator, says Fat Man Dave, and you couldn't be any more right. Again, I'm not a political person by any stretch of the imagination. As you can probably tell, I'm from the north of England. We don't really have many dogs in any political fight because no one takes us seriously at all. All the politics is down south. They don't really care about most things that happen up north, even as far as the Scottish border, which is obviously why they wanted to break off into independence, because they can't seem to make stuff work for them, and they don't seem to be getting any help either, regardless of what you think of Nicola Sturgeon. She comes across as a bit of a dick, but I imagine she has a lot of she wants the best for her country, which you can't argue with. Everyone does, but yeah, again, I don't really have a dog in this fight, so shut me God. Spike says there are 1,000 standing against what's going on in Russia. Can't judge people by their government or British would all be called fat, scruffy idiots. Most of us are, to be fair. I mean, it's correct in many senses, but as a whole, we don't fall under that description. I agree. It's just when you have someone who's a complete fucking arsehole leading your country, you are going to get tarred with the same brush. Same as in football. If you've got dickhead fan bases, or you have the small minority who are ripping chairs and throwing it across the stands, or jumping onto the pitch to punch football players when they score a goal, your fan base is probably going to get tarnished with some sort of brush, and you're going to fall underneath that. But yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say about this before I start to put my foot in it anymore. But I'm going to leave the show with some fantastic news and something that I think is going to help them quite a lot. I don't know if any of you have come across this or you've played it before. We've definitely streamed it on this channel. We actually streamed it with Toby from the Sidemen, which was quite a day. But yeah, let's have a look. Name drop in there, by the way. This has been written on VGC by Jordan Mittler. He says that Knockout City Studio leaves EA behind and will make the game free to play, which genuinely I thought they should have done this in the beginning. I didn't think this game would last that long, which it seems to have died, which is probably why they're making it free to play. But anyway, I'll continue. The change will happen as the game celebrates its 1 year anniversary. Villain Studios has announced that Knockout City is going free to play and will now be self-published. The game, which was released a year ago, is currently enjoying its 5th season of content and will make substantial changes at the end of the season. In a post to EA's website, the developer also revealed that it would be leaving EA as its publisher at the end of Season 5. The other big change, this is a quote by the way, the other big change happening over the first few seasons of Year 2 is that we're going to be self-publishing Knockout City, it announced. From the day we founded our studios, we've worked to deliver revolutionary new game experiences to you and our amazing community of players. We couldn't have introduced Knockout City to the world if it wasn't for the incredible support of EA Originals, but now as we switch to free-to-play, the natural step for us is to take over publishing responsibilities. Players will still be able to require to have an EA account to play Knockout City in the meantime, but it's expected that once Villain Studios is solely responsible for the game, this will no longer be the case. Knockout City is a team-based dodgeball game that was released last year under the EA Originals publishing brand. The game was met with favourable reviews upon release. We're currently holding a score of 80 on reviews aggregator Metacritic. EA Originals was also published A Way Out and It Takes Two, both developed by Haze Light Studios. So for those of you that have played this game before, or those of you that are potentially waiting for this to come to PlayStation Plus or something, you are going to be getting this. And it's a free-to-play game, or it's going to be a free-to-play game. It is so much fun. It's difficult. It's very, very fun to be able to pick up and play, but to be good at it, it is quite difficult. You have to learn the button combinations. You have to have pretty good reflexes, because it does give you an indication of when you're about to be slapped in the face with a dodgeball. But you have to be quick with the button prompts to be able to stop that from happening. So I think this is going to be a massive move for them. I do think they're going to getting a massive player base coming into the game. It's just, can you retain them? Because I'm digging into my brain here. A year ago is a long time. I'm fairly certain that on PlayStation Plus, or it might have been Xbox, you managed to play this game for 2 or 3 weeks for free, and they had millions of people playing it, and then it just seemed to fall off the face of the earth. So they have got the opportunity to be able to get them back again and see what season 2 is going to be. Year 2, season 5. At the end of season 5, they were moving into year 2, which is then going to be free to play. I'm excited to see what they do with year 2 stuff. I feel like it's going to be another major success for them. They've had 5 seasons to get it right, and now they need to move on to bigger and better things. They need to scale up, which I think they're going to do. So I think this will be a very good move for them. Dave says, I think it was free to play from the start. Might have been to rival Fortnite when it was starting to flag. Tito says, got to remember the 4Ds when it comes to dodge all. Dodgeball, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. For those of you that have never watched Dodgeball, please watch it. It's fantastic. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good move for them. Now, that isn't necessarily Free Game Friday. I have tried to find the articles. Usually it's on VGC or Eurogamer, and it's just all Elden Ring stuff at this moment in time. So if you are playing Elden Ring, please do let us know in our Discord if you are, how you're getting on with that. I have tried to watch it today. I did get a text last night from Graham, says it looks like Skyrim in HD. Clearly has never watched any of my Skyrim games, because it just looks like the world. It doesn't look anything like a Skyrim game. It looks ridiculous. Wicked TV, hey, how's it going? Done a great job, babe, Graham. Woo! You could dodge a ball, you could dodge a wrench. How's it going, Wicked? How are you doing? But that is it for this afternoon's streams. We will be back this evening as I actually go in to play a game that is like Skyrim. Because it is Skyrim, we'll be jumping back in and continuing our playthrough this evening at around about 6:30, maybe 7 o'clock. It's not going to be all night. It's probably going to be like for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, because there is going to be no Sunday stream from me today. I was just about to post that. Zombie says JMK. Forgot about the 5th was the dip. Bibba butchered it anyway, absolutely. You see, I've got on this screen here all the chat, but I've got it also in OBS on this screen because it's underneath my camera. So if I was to just read the chat, I'd just be looking this way, which isn't very sociable, is it? I could swap them over, to be fair, but I'm too lazy to do that. JK says, great to catch you later, baby. Great stream, thank you very much. I'm scared to play Elden Ring. It looks difficult. It looks difficult to me. I won't be playing it either. Not anytime soon anyway. I'll wait for it to potentially drop down in price. It might not do because it's so good, but we'll wait and see. It's not a Nintendo first party game, so it's going to have a price decrease at some point. We just don't know when. But that is the end of the scoops for this week. That's 5 episodes done. So I appreciate every single one of you that have helped shape the show, and a lot of you guys have done that this week. So again, I appreciate all the help that you guys give us. You guys are like the producers of this show. You help us give us the news. You help shape the shows. Speaking of shaping the shows, we'll be back on Monday. So if you want to help shape the next week's content, then there is 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media. It is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms. Or alternatively, you can get involved with our Discord. The chatbot isn't working, but it is Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms. We can also find it on Discord as well if you're watching this on any of our on-demand services. Go into the description. All the links that you require will be listed there for you. But all we need from you is the URL plus your thoughts and opinions of the show. We will then give you our thoughts and opinions. Your thoughts and opinions of the article. We will then give you our thoughts and opinions on the very next show, which will be at 10 a.m. ish on Monday. It's chances are, because we are so busy at this moment in time, this is a secondary thing for us that we do in our own spare time. The work comes first, which is usually why you see us go live at 3 p.m. yesterday. We are just exceptionally busy at this moment in time. So we will go live as soon as we're able to do. It will most likely be the after morning, which is usually after about 1 o'clock-ish. But we do appreciate all the support. It doesn't matter what time we go live. You guys always come through anyway, so we appreciate that. But I am going to raid someone for the time being. As again, we will be live again tonight at around about 6:30 with some more Skyrim action. But as always, guys, I do appreciate every single one of you that stopped by. All of you guys that have been chatting and keeping me company this afternoon as we go through the stoop. So until then, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. And as always, stay frosty.